It's your boy Pac Man, the Hood Force Watch, you know what I'm talking about. And this is another episode of Air Out with Pac Man. And we doing this special thing here. We got Dr. Alan Jackson in the building. This ain't just no city council interview here. You know, Air Out with Pac Man. So this is what a community kind of chicken, you know what I'm saying? My audience, a lot of them may be young, working class, um, and they may or may not understand how politics really work, you know. They know, but they do know, it's about, they know about rent, water bills and violence and jobs, entertainment. So this can be like barbershop conversation in the world. Um, Let me ask you, why would you even open yourself up to something like this when you know that most of the questions are probably going to be negative or very critical of the position that you hold? Uh, why would you do
Great question. Number one, by law, I recommend people voting yet, even those who didn't vote at all, still recommend people. City council meet every other Monday and Tuesday. However, they meet at 3 o'clock. A lot of people working at their time, so they may not have the physical means to come down to city council meeting and address it as a whole. I'm appreciative of the opportunity that you allow in the community to ask me those questions. Um, and I'll do my best to try to answer those questions. How will even one, but how will move Shreveport forward? How will move Shreveport forward together? So I need to hear from you. I need to know what it sounds good, but it don't always have to be negative. If we're doing a good job, or if you think we got something right, definitely let us know. But a lot of times we may have information that the general public didn't have. So I appreciate this platform because it gives me a chance to let them know what I'm basing my decision on. Even our big media, KSLA, Channel 6, Channel 12, a lot of those entities don't always report the accurate information, or they may not have a chance to ask me, what I'm thinking or why I made the decision that I made. So I was just going to have the community have the
And we appreciate that. And I know we don't have much time, so we're gonna jump right on into it. Somebody commented under one of the posts where we solicited questions, and they wanted to know what opportunities can you foresee to begin addressing police pay, which I relate to huge shortages in staff that does not involve more taxes.
So, a great question. So, anytime we talk about giving police and fire, hey, I've always supported those things. I always feel like they're deserving of it. However, everything comes back from it, and I always like to start there. Just like within your household, you can't just go out there and buy a Bugatti because you're gonna look at your budget. You got to make sure your budget can support whatever thing you're trying to suspend on. Majority of our budget, 60% comes from sales tax. So as you buy things in Shreveport, that sales tax, 60% of it represents our budget. That's what we can use to support our police and fire. The more people that are spending money in Shreveport, the more money we have. That's why we're starting about things such as 50 Cent is doing. We're hoping that attracts people from surrounding areas. We're hoping we'll get some Dallas money, some Houston money, some Atlanta money. People that are coming to Shreveport for a specific reason to spend money with us. As we get more revenue through tourism, that allows us to have a bigger budget in order to help with supply. One thing that we did approve is the Dallas Center, and I know that was a controversial vote. But with the Dallas Center, the city of Shreveport can estimate receiving estimated revenue of about $10 million per year per Dallas Center. So we're looking to have an increased budget that has not been budgeted at all of about $30 million per year. Of that $30 million, when I'm asking my colleagues, when I'm asking the mayor to support, number one, let's bring police and fire up to a competitive salary that number one retains them and prevent them from being trained here and then off to another state that's willing to pay them more. So we want to make sure that we're able to give them a solid rate that's in budget, but we don't need a lot of those monies to travel centers.
Okay. So what was the total living?
So we have a $700 million budget.
And there's 30 million there too.
But we added to it. It has not been allocated for anything. So this is important that that definitely reach out to the city council and you voice to them what you would like to see that money used for. Of course, police and fire, in my mind, should be at the top of the list because everything comes down to safety. If you don't feel safe in your own home, then it's hard for you to invest in your home. It's hard for you to want to stay in your home if you don't feel safe. So I think making Shreveport safer is the number one thing we should focus on. After that, then we want to look at rebuilding our roads, our streets, our sewer system. Everything that you're planning about now should be prioritized with this extra input.
Um, they say, why did you and others, oh, why did you and others on the city council grow this interest as well, overwhelming demands of your constituency and improve those controversial data centers for this area? I think you kind of touched on
I did, and I'm speaking for myself. Let me be clear with that. A lot of times I hear people saying, "Oh, we don't want this," and we hear a general term. As a city council person, I get called. I get a lot of calls. We have a lot of 190,000 people in this city. It would take a call, emails. I didn't receive anything negative regarding the downtown. But uh, let me state this: the Dallas Center geographically is not in my area. So typically, those who I represent didn't have a problem with the Dallas Center because they didn't live around the Dallas Center. So I want to say that for the record. I think those that had the biggest concern were the ones that was going to be the closest to the Dallas Center. However, what the Shreveport Dallas Center is going to be located, it's going to be off of Brazilian Way. And Brazilian Way was built with such thing as a data center. It's not going to be built with a road. It's kind of off there in the woods. And so we felt like based on the location, it was ideal. Also, there were concerns about problems with earlier data centers. But that's like comparing this data center to a 1954 Ford. That 1954 Ford, I know people who love the old school can't compare to a 2026 Ford. I mean, it's night and day. So we can't compare the problems to the early data centers to these new data centers. Based on these new data centers, we haven't received anything that says that it will cause a problem. I would not support anything that will hurt the home in which I'm raising my boys. I love them dearly, and so I wouldn't cause them any type of harm. So that's what my heart. But also, the revenue that we're going to receive in the Dallas centers is unmatched like we've ever seen before. These Dallas centers receiving an extra $10 million per year. That's almost like growing the city by 40,000-50,000 people spending money in Shreveport. That's the impact you have with data centers, but you don't create more traffic. So it's all the upsides without the downside. You don't have any extra trash. You don't have any of that that would equate with having additional 50,000 people. Plus the jobs. We're gonna have about 250 jobs per data center. So that's about an extra 600,000 come to your area.
Um, let me play devil's that. I've heard people say, well, if you bury those data centers, it's gonna mess up the wall. And I've heard them say, well, it's gonna get some power grid on our bills are gonna stop.
So shameless plug. We have a Black Democrat running for public and commissions. We can get out there and vote. If you didn't vote, you definitely need your vote in order to win in November. Going against a Republican, we need all registered Democrats to vote. for us to take back this seat, want to keep this seat. Say that. So SWEPCO is on record in saying that they will not increase your utility bill because of the debt. You have that in writing. I can assure you, your utility bill will not go up. As far as our water, the reason that these three data centers, not just one, Shreveport has one, Blackston has one, which is considered Caddo Parish. Caddo Parish will have two, and then Boulder Parish will have one. We will invest geographically. We have pretty much four water supplies. You have Caddo Lake, that will be Blue Lake. You have Red River. You have Lake Bistro, and then you have the mine. With us being able to pull from all three water systems, we can pretty much guarantee that these data centers will never have any downtime. There's something with the power grid, they have fire generation in case of emergency. If we have to not use one of our water systems for whatever reason, we have three others that we can tap into to make sure that these data centers keep running. The water bill will not increase, and your electric bill will not go up. However, remember, we have extra revenue now, so we can take care and make sure that the quality of life of every single resident is improved.
Okay. What about? I heard somebody say that the data centers were supposed to pay for like improvements or something to the water system.
Absolutely. So the data center will be investing in their own improvements to make sure that connectivity to the water system is top notch, which does not affect all of the Shreveport, but it does improve the water system for those that live in that area. So you'll be getting upgrades to the water infrastructure because data center will be investing in that area.
Let me ask you, Dr. Jackson. So right now, this is a real big topic in Louisiana. It's another redistricting fight. The state city just passed the map that would remove Louisiana's two majority black congressional seats, right? Districts. How should black voters in Shreveport look at that? Is this politics as usual? Or you say that a great threat to voting power? Louisiana Senators passed a new congressional map district that eliminate one majority black district and to shift the state's U.S. House delegation for a 5-1 Republican.
So the decision was definitely shameful. It is 100% shameful, and there's no better way to act. However, I have to blame us. I have to blame us because when you look at the numbers, we have about 1 million Democratic voters. We have about 1 million Republican voters. We have about 800,000 independent voters. Louisiana should not be a red state. If the registered Democratic vote consistently, we can turn this state blue. The last time this state was blue is when Bill Clinton ran. That was in 1996. That was the last time we were blue. We have to get back to voting, not voting what is convenient, voting what is raining, voting what is cold, voting right now. We are the vote board now because we don't have the power. One thing you're learning about power, whoever has the power is not afraid to exercise, regardless of power. In Louisiana, we are 32% black. 33% black. So based on our numbers, we're saying if we get 6 congressional seats, we should have 2 representatives to represent the 33%. But if we don't have the voting power, whoever has the voting power is going to make the decision of whoever is best that's in power.
The Supreme Court.
Let's be clear what the Supreme Court said. The Supreme Court did not say we cannot have 2 African American congressional seats. That's not what they said. The Supreme Court says we cannot base redistricting on race alone. That is the law. It cannot be based on racial line. So let me say locally. 4 years ago, when I was on council, I was appointed at the time. City council seats went through redistricting. And city council had to draw a line. We were in charge of drawing the line and voting. However, the lines had to be drawn. We was part. It cannot simply be based on race. It can be based on party. Um, the main reason it's what it's based on is the number of people in each district. So in city council here, we have 7 districts. We wanted to make sure every district had the same number of people. When we talk about representation, we want to represent everybody equally. So when people are moving out, they're leaving one area, moving into the other area, then the population is shifting. So every 10 years, we have to redraw the lines to make sure that District A has about 25,000. District B has about 25,000. Every district has roughly about 25,000 people. That keeps the district fair and people represent. However, can we look at other factors? Can I make sure that the Democrats stay in power? When I'm looking at the line, and I include a neighborhood that I know is 99% Democrat to make sure that it's easy for a Democrat person to win that race. If I'm in power, yes. If for the first time we have a majority Democratic council with me being appointed. So that's how we looked at it. We gave Democrats an advantage. But in giving Democrats advantage in a 5-2 district, we gave Republicans a super advantage in 12 districts. So in District D and in District C, it will be extremely hard for Democrats to win those districts because we loaded the district with enough Democrats to where it's easier for Democrats to win those districts. It's harder for Republicans to win those districts. So the question is that fair? Is that fair? And I'm saying whether it's fair or not, whoever is in power is not afraid to exercise that power to try to stay in power. That's what they do. That's what we done at the local level. That's what the Republicans are doing at the state level. That's what we're doing at the national level.
I think y'all did the correct thing at the local level. I wish some of the Democrats at the national level and the state level would get on board in the states that do things stuff because Republicans, when they had a level, they don't put it. But that's politics. They ain't doing nothing wrong.
Yeah. So first thing we have to focus on right now. Can we take back the government? Can we switch that? We can't just do it because we have to. We have to organize. You mentioned our panel about organizing. We have to be organized. We have to have a viable candidate. And you have to make sure not only all registered Democrats are voting, but we have to make sure those who are not registered get registered to vote. That's the only way we can kind of stay back. That's the only way we can start taking back our power.
All right. Sure. Okay. They told me to check on the audio. Okay.
You live.
All right.
Is it live? Live.
Yeah, we live. We live. Caddo had more than 11,000 early ballots cast in May 16th party primary. Is that good enough, or should Shreveport be embarrassed that more people don't show up when local power is on the line? KSLA reported more than 11,000 Caddo Parish voters cast early ballots ahead of May 16th and the 2026 election.
There's always room for improvement. And we still have a lot on the line. Every time there's an election, we have a lot on the line. I'm happy that all the amendments failed. I was not supporting any amendments. There's a couple do want to speak on that were borderline for me. teacher raises. I do believe our teachers deserve a raise. I do believe they deserve a permanent raise. But I don't think taking money from their retirement to support a raise today is the answer. We're simply giving them their money early. So that's why I voted no for that. The retirement age. Currently, once you reach 75, you have to recuse your seat at that age. You're not allowed to finish that term. That amendment would have allowed that person to finish your term, but I believe 75 it's an answer for a reason. You know, is that person still competent? So I was not on board with allowing, anyone to finish the term once they reach that age, because it's so many other factors that comes once you become elder. Are you mentally and have the physical capacity to continue to do your job? And so I didn't support that one, but I could see how people would consider supporting that one. I have not had a chance to look at all the early votes numbers, so let me start there. I don't know what percentage turnout that we have. Typically 40% is high. But again, if you remember everything I'm saying earlier, if we want to take back our power, if we're upset with things that are going on with Baton Rouge, then we have to get to the point, especially amongst Democrats, where we're coming out and voting at 50, 60, sometimes even 70%. It's going to take all of us collectively to understand what's going on in Louisiana is not right. And we need to do something about it.
Do you think that Black Shreveport is politically organized, or are we still emotionally reactive when elections come around?
I think we're organized in pockets. Collectively, I don't think we're organized. I think there's a lot of chiefs that can't get organized together. One thing I always say when we talk about the makeup city council and having 4 African Americans that can work together is powerful, because it only takes 4 people to move things together. But if those 4 can't get along, if those 4 fall out with each other, then Shreveport is negatively impacted. So I believe if you are a power player in this city, put Shreveport first. Put Shreveport before your own feelings. Put Shreveport before your own concerns, before your pride. Put Shreveport first. Find a way to come together, because young folks are looking up. Young folks are asking, what should we do? Young folks are trusting people like you. I'm glad you're involved. I'm glad you're not just telling people that look up to you information that you don't have. I'm glad you're collecting it firsthand from yourself so you can properly advise them. If it wasn't for you and others like you, we would never have had the first Black sheriff. So I want to give you your flowers. I want to state that for the record. You helped a lot of first-time voters vote. You encouraged a lot of people to get registered and not tip the scale. If we're going to continue to move Shreveport forward, if we're going to continue to move Louisiana forward, it's going to take more of that.
Appreciate that, man.
You're welcome.
When big money comes to Shreveport, how do we stop it from turning into rich people shaking hands?
Yeah.
While regular people get like traffic, construction, and pest control?
Man, that's a great question, and I deal with it all the time. It's always shaped. But what about us? What's going to be done for us? And I tell people all the time, whether it's a city contract, whether it's a parish contract, number one, we have to be in position. For example, if I have 10 jobs right now, and every job say you must have a minimal or bachelor's degree, and nobody in the room has a bachelor's degree, I can't do anything illegal. So what I'm saying is that we have to be prepared for the opportunity. Right. Whether that means training, whether that means a college degree, whether that means having that business set up. If there were grass contracts that's available, and you're saying you want a grass contract, but you don't own the lawnmower, it's hard for me to advocate for somebody who don't even own a lawnmower when we got so many people out there that will be more qualified than you, because at least they own the lawnmower and they already are cutting grass. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so I want to make the decision to help others, to help my people. Let me be specific, but we also have to be prepared. We also have to be qualified. What I cannot do, I cannot trust city funds, parish funds, government funds to somebody who can't do the job because they're not qualified to do the job.
Right. They don't have the capacity. Let me ask you, see what we got. Okay. Let's say much better. The 56 situation, it got a lot of attention. Looking back,
Jackson on Jackson crime.
what was your real concern? The donation itself, the selection process, transparency, or how the public understood it? KSLA reported that 50 Cent criticized Dr. Jackson after Jackson raised questions about the nonprofit process connected to 50 Cent's local donations. Jackson responded that he commented the generosity, but had questions on behalf of his constituents.
Yeah. Whew. So I woke up and I saw a Facebook Live, and I saw 50 Cent. I saw some city leaders, in so many words, having a press conference where $500,000 was given out. And I was excited. We had $500,000 given out to Shreveport. A lot of those organizations, I knew the presidents, I knew members of those organizations, and I was extremely happy. I was excited. You know, I didn't know anything about it, but that was okay. You know, I wasn't upset that I wasn't there. I was just excited that he did what he did, and those organizations that received the funding. Then I got some phone calls. I got some phone calls specifically for a neighborhood association in my area. And when the list was released, that person was simple. Hey, Dr. Jackson, we see a neighborhood association receive some funding. We want to know, you know, what's the process? You know, how can we sign up? Will they be giving out, you know, funding in the future? And I was honest. I said, I'm sorry, I don't know. You know, I don't know anything about the process. But the way I addressed that problem is the way I address any other problem. I told them I will find out. Then I received 2 other phone calls from other organizations in my area asking the same thing. And I will say simply, I don't know. I will find out. So in that moment, I think a lot of those organizations thought that, you know, I didn't want to give them information. Maybe I was gatekeeping. Maybe I was trying to just keep it for, you know, other folks. And I didn't want to be labeled as that. So I reached out. I reached out directly to Mr. Jackson's team, Curtis Jackson's team, just pretty much inquiring about the process. Since that time, I've had several conversations with 50 Cent directly, and he was able to share with me his thoughts. And so I do understand why he was frustrated. It was brought to him. Well, let me take a step back. 50 Cent felt like he was doing an honorable thing. He was giving a lot of money to Shreveport. He did not have to do that. I agree, and we appreciate him for that. He also felt like anybody asking about what he was doing with his money was an insult to him. And so I can see that from that point of view. What I informed Mr. 50 Cent is that if something big was going on in New York, people would expect you to know because that's your city. You're the king of your city. I said, as a city leader, people expect me to know things. They've seen me around you. They've seen me in your circle. And so they was just simply asking the question about a process that they expected me to know. And so all in all, what we agreed is that there was lack of communication on both parts. And we have come to a resolution. We're definitely good. And we have agreed to communicate with each other better in the future to make sure if there's any questions that I have about anything that I'm supporting of his, anything I'm voting on, if I have a question, if somebody from my district has a question, I have ways to reaching out to make sure that we get those questions answered so there won't be any more miscommunication moving forward.
Okay. Yeah, cause I was at that event with 50. You know what I'm saying? I seen him come in and stuff, and
Yeah.
I think the problem might have been that it may have kind of looked it like a city
Yeah.
event or something like that, but it really was like a private
Yeah. So
donation
it was
type thing.
definitely for the record, it was definitely not a joint venture. The city was not involved. This was a selection process by the G Unit team themselves. So we were not involved at all. And had I known that anybody that would have asked me a question, I would just simply have shared that to them. Hey, look, this was a process by G Unit. The city was not involved. Here's the information where you can reach out to them directly to inquire about any future donations or process.
Okay. Um, with 50 Cent and G Unit connected to major downtown redevelopment, what specific plans to make sure Shreveport residents get jobs, vendor slots, film work, security contracts, catering contracts, and small business opportunities? Shreveport Downtown's district page frames G Unit studios as part of a larger downtown revitalization push. While KSLA reported that G Unit finalized the redevelopment agreement involving entertainment assets in Shreveport.
So we're about 2 years in, almost 3, since 50 Cent first agreed to come to Shreveport and touchdown. Some are frustrated and feel like the motion is not moving as fast enough. Let me say that this is not on 50 Cent. They had tremendous flooding with Millennium Studios. We hadn't had flooding before, but since the apartments were built, now we are experiencing flooding. We've just completed fixing that maybe about 30 days ago. So now G Unit is comfortable to start renovating the building. They did not want to put millions and millions of dollars in equipment into a building that they knew was flooding. So everything is on hold. But to 50 Cent's defense, it costs him money to film everywhere else. You think about everybody that owns a home or have an apartment. How many days would you spend at a hotel? It doesn't make sense for you to stay at a hotel when you don't have to, when you have a house.
Right.
So think about 50 Cent the same way. If he's filming somewhere else, it costs him money to film somewhere else. He has a studio here that he cannot utilize. So I want to set that up and don't think that 50 Cent is dragging his feet. It was on the city to make sure that we got the building ready for him. And now that it's ready, we should see some movement pretty quickly as far as renovating the building, getting the building up to par. There's some things here he'll be able to shoot with some other buildings, some stage works and stuff like that. So we will start to see some motion. But it's not just film and television that he's bringing to our city. He wants Shreveport to be a 24-hour, 7 days a week destination place. He wants Shreveport to be the highest visit city per capita. It sounds crazy. Think about for your birthday or your anniversary, how many people are saying, hey, I'm going to Texas, I'm going to Atlanta, I'm going to Vegas. Well, in the near future, all of those cities are saying, I'm coming to Shreveport. We got the casino, we got the G Unit film, we got this, we got that, we got going on. All of those people are now going to be coming to Shreveport. A part of his contract when we agreed to sign a 99-year lease, he's going to have 26 live events per year. That's literally 2 a month. So there would never be a reason to say there's nothing doing Shreveport. Every week, you're going to have something to do in Shreveport. There's going to be something that 50 Cent is pushing. So if you got a business, if you got a clothing line, if you got a boutique, now we're going to have outsiders, we're going to have visitors coming to Shreveport on the regular basis looking to spend money. So here's the time I'm asking everybody to invest in their business. If you got a storefront, get out that can of paint. Let's freshen it up. Let's fresh up on the inside. If you were thinking about having a business, go ahead and roll it out because the city of Shreveport is now open for business, and we want to make sure we clean our home. We want to make sure it's safe. Let's put down our guns. Let's stop killing each other, and let's get this money together.
So did 50 Cent get stage work as well?
He got stage work as well.
And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't he paying like more than the person that had it before him?
It's a great question. So when we talk about the original lease, and remember, we were considered Hollywood of the South. Every owner, every of Millennial Studios, the most they ever paid for a lease was $100 a month. So when 50 Cent came, we was like, hey, he has the resources. We're gonna just double what the last person would pay. So he's paying $200 a month. To the general public, be like, oh man, that's nothing. I could have taken a Millennium. Well, here's the thing. Millennium costs about $200,000 a year to run. When we talk about lights, water, gas, when we talk about maintaining just the building, that is what the city of Shreveport was paying on an annual basis with your tax dollars. So even if he doesn't do anything with it, we save $200,000 a year. Also, look at the other thing that we were considering at the time. We was about to donate it to make it a library. So we weren't going to make any money off of it. And so we're betting on 50 Cent to revitalize the film and tax structure, to bring jobs, to bring revenue, but it doesn't cost the city a thing to bet on him, whether it makes it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason I am so confident that it's going to make it, one of the things that 50 Cent said behind the scenes was, I have enough money to where I can wake up and I don't have to do anything the rest of my life. That's what we all want. We all want to be able to say today, I can literally retire today. I don't have to work. I can just go visit my grandkids, do whatever you want. Like, that is the dream. And we know that is true for him. He said, this is about my legacy. He said, I want to live when I'm gone, I want to have a legacy that precedes myself.
Mm-hmm.
He's betting on himself. He's betting on Shreveport. When a man says, this is about my legacy, all I'm saying is get out the way. Because when this is about your legacy, nothing is going to stop you from accomplishing your goal.
Mm-hmm.
The entire Shreveport would have to be against 50 Cent for him to stop him from getting his goal. And we're not that. We're supporting him. We believe with our help, his star power, we can be on the fastest trajectory of the most visited city per capita in the United States. That's the goal.
Capitalism, capital of the world, huh? Tourism, capital of the world. I'm sorry. Okay, so let me ask you. I got two questions. Should Shreveport create a creative economy office or a task force focused on music, film, podcasting, nightlife, digital media, and youth entrepreneurship? And do you think the city respects hip hop and street culture as an economic engine, or does it only see it as a public safety problem?
Repeat that last part. Do I see what?
Do you think the city respects hip hop and street culture as an economic engine, or does it only see it as a public safety problem?
I can see how individuals, major players in Shreveport, can see the hip hop culture as a liability more than an asset. When we talk about a tool, when we talk about a hammer has the ability to destroy. You can knock stuff down with it, and it could build. We have to show that we're about economics. And this is a subject that is not widely touched on. Black on black crime. We are continually killing each other in droves, in numbers. We want to be respected, but we don't respect one another. We want white America to respect us, yet we kill each other daily and don't think twice about it. If a white person spits on a black person, we're ready to riot. But if you hear a black person shoots another black person, you don't even investigate enough to see who and why. You're on to the next story. Well, we are immune to black on black crime, and I think we have to start there. Hip hop is $1 billion business, but is hip hop a part of the culture in which we no longer respect lives? I think it is. What you put on the inside of you daily when pressure is applied comes out. In every rap song is teaching you, if somebody does this to you, this is how you respond. If somebody steps on your feet, you respond to this. Now they're telling you, if somebody hurts you, you don't hurt them back. You hurt their entire family. That's in our music. That's what we're telling our young kids to do. So now when they see themselves in a situation, they simply revert back to the information they have been listening to all day. That information is not coming from a church. That information is not coming from a pulpit. That information is not coming from their local pastor. That information is not coming from the Bible. That information is coming from what they're putting on the inside of them daily. We have to start there. I love the hip hop culture, but I detest the black on black crime. I can't hurt somebody that looks like me. Now, I'm going to always protect my family, but we have to do a better job of resolving our conflict that does not result in daily violence. And we're losing lives over senseless stuff. This is not even about money. This is about words. You hurt my feelings, so now I want to kill you.
That's true.
This is about women.
Yeah.
You know, you took my woman from me. Can't nobody take anything from you. If they take it, it's not yours, especially if it's a woman. We have to do a better job of protecting ourselves. When we talk about voting power, imagine if every person, black person that was incarcerated had the power to vote. Imagine if they weren't incarcerated. Look at the number. We're no longer second. Brown, our Mexicans, our Hispanic are now in 2. So when you start seeing politicians that look more like them, when you start seeing teachers and police officers that look more like them than you, it's because we have killed our population. And the ones that are not dead are incarcerated.
That's true. That's true.
We got to fix that first.
And I agree with you on the black on black crime. I don't necessarily ascribe to the moniker, but the message, I respect that. I know I get a lot of pushback because, I have like a music management company. And the way I look at it is this. As long as I keep these little dudes in the studio and I keep these little dudes out the streets for real, then I'm occupying their time.
I agree.
Now, do I think that there are negatives in it? Yeah, I can show you. I wouldn't show you, but I can show you the messages between me and all my artists, right? I wouldn't show you because it's in confidence.
Right.
But I can show you the messages, and I tell them all the time, let's make it a little more club and a little less violent, you know?
But it's not even that. And let me say this to every rapper, every artist. What you're putting in the music is working. We see that in the violence. You tell them go hurt somebody, they go hurt somebody. All I'm asking you, keep the beat, change the message. Tell them how voting could affect their lives more than what a gun would. Tell them to pick up the pen. We've always said the pen is more powerful than the sword, but create a message that has a good beat to where they could listen. I'm not taking away the culture, but it's going to be up to the music to change the culture. One or two things has to happen. Either I got to get everybody back in church. Church has to play a political role. Church, you got to stop staying in church. You got to come outside of church and meet them where they are. The church has to become outside, but also our music, our message has to change. If you want to fix the Black culture, rap about it, sing about it, and I promise you, we'll listen.
What I'm finna say here is absolutely Robert Bruchon. This has nothing to do with Alan Jackson. This is Robert Bruchon talking. I think that the reason that violent music is so successful is because there are a certain, I'm gonna say, group of people who own majority of the music industry. I believe that capitalism requires a permanent underclass, and pushing violent music onto that permanent underclass helps that permanent underclass stay a permanent underclass. I also believe that if they didn't want that, if they really didn't, two things could happen. Those owners would stop going after those type of rappers, and you would legislate. You can't touch free speech, but you would find some type of way of holding people legally liable for violence committed if you're pushing that onto a populace.
I agree. Let me push back though. I don't know how many people watching this live. I don't know how many people. Shout out to Vesta Marshall, got the festival coming. I'll be there shortly, as soon as I finish up. I do know how we can make this message go viral. I know one guarantee way that this hits every media outlet.
Tell me about it.
We start fighting. We start fighting right now. Channel 6, Channel 12, Channel 3, Channel 33. We're all gonna be calling. My phone will be ringing off the hook right now if we start fighting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But if we continue to talk about what is necessary to save the Black culture, it won't. It won't hit any media outlet. So what I'm saying is, it's not even about the owners. You don't own Facebook, but you have a platform. Y'all have thousands and thousands of followers. What are you pushing to your followers? What are you promoting to your followers?
Mm-hmm.
If we start fighting right now, everybody's going to share this. Councilman Jackson, local activist, gets into it on live podcasts.
Right.
We're so concerned with violence. This is graduation season. Congratulations to everybody 2026. When you post your graduation pictures, shout out to everybody that got 100 likes, 1,000 likes. But if you want to go viral, go fight at your graduation. I promise you, you'll be viral. That's not what I'm encouraging. What I'm saying is, we have to send a message that says, I am not going to support negativity. Facebook is paying people based on viewers and shares. If it's negative, don't share it. And I'm talking to every major platform. Shreveport Hit List, I'm talking to you. Wade Lovelace, I'm talking to you. If it's negative, let's be more responsible. I'm trying to sell Shreveport. I can't sell Shreveport if all we're pushing out is negative. We have a lot of great things that's going on in this city. Again, one today, the Rose and Wines Festival. Great event. I promise you, won't be no fights, no drama, no police call, nothing. Thousands of people are gathering right now having a great time. We should be pushing that out. We should be promoting that. We should be saying, congratulations, Sylvester Marshall, another successful event.
Mm-hmm.
But if something were to happen, knock on wood, then everybody's going to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
We should promote the success. We should encourage the success. We should celebrate the success and stop promoting negativity. I wish Facebook wouldn't even allow negativity to be placed on their platform, because that's not your platform. That is Facebook platform. Instagram is not your platform. But if you have a position on there, if you have followings, then be responsible. Promote the thing you want. In church today, we learned about reaping what you sow. A lot of people think it's about money. He's like, no, whatever you sow is what you're going to reap. If you push out negativity, you're going to reap negativity. If you push out good, you're going to reach out good. If you help folks, folks going to help you.
Right.
That's the law of the land.
Right. And to piggyback off what you're saying, man, and this is how I know who actually watches my show and who doesn't.
Mhm.
So I bring on rappers and things,
Right.
right? If people ever watch my show is more about trauma and dealing with it. It's more of a rehab
Mhm.
type show,
Right.
without nobody knowing what I'm doing.
I got you.
But they'll say, oh, he getting in them rappers beef.
Mhm.
No, I'm not.
Right.
I'm actually trying to see the damage get them to talk about the damage that it's caused them.
Gotcha.
Things of that sort. And you can go watch my shows and you'll figure this out.
Right.
What I feel like is happening today is mess, controversy, whatever, anything that is, it's the Coliseum.
Mhm.
It's the medieval Coliseum. The lions fighting.
Right.
They fighting to the death. That's what we want to see.
Right. All right.
When I so-called get into it with somebody on the internet, shit go viral.
Mhm.
When I talked about how I went over there to Cedar Grove to push peace,
Right.
I think it had like 2 shares. And that really happened.
Mhm.
I don't even think it's just the Black community. I think the Black community tends to, due to the environment that they're in, they're really living that lifestyle, a lot of them.
Hurt people.
Right. But I think all of them, everybody, Americans, they enjoy seeing a good bruiser.
Mhm.
That's why certain people, if you ever notice, they're not in our community. They have nothing to do with our community. They're not by our community. Most of the time, it's not even affected. What's going on in our community is not even affecting them.
Right.
But they watch us every day.
They watch us. They watch us and they judge us.
I make a post, I guarantee you, in less than a minute, that sucker gonna be screenshotted and posted somewhere, right? I think we have to get more involved about the mental health, because you got to understand this is traumatic. This is generational trauma. This is the mama learned this, and then the son or the daughter, they watched it and they learned that as normal.
Right.
So I've communicated with people where I'm realizing, and I say, hold on. Okay, I understand what's going on. You're talking to me through your nervous system when I'm trying to talk reason. This is not going to work.
Right.
I'm better off letting you do your spiel. And once you calm down, maybe we can talk reason. But until your emotional system feels safe again, we ain't even hearing each other. This is just a clash. And when you live in a city that's 50% in abject poverty, you're going to have a lot of people emotionally trying to survive, which will cause a lot of clashes.
And see, I appreciate that. And I'm gonna say this, and we want to do this weekly, so we ain't gonna answer everything, So I'll make this my last spiel to that. What you're talking about is rules of engagement. And I think we have to get back to rules of engagement. What's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Even in war, you think about, we're at war right now. Trump is giving our enemies a chance to come back to the table. He said, look, okay, I'm gonna stop dropping bombs so we can talk. You know, he's given rules of engagement. Even in the war, there are rules of engagement. They're killing each other, but they're not savages. We have to get back to that. We have to get back to understanding there are rules to engage each other. For too long, the gun has become the weapon of fear, the weapon of choice. You're going to respect me by the gun. You're going to fear me by the gun. If that's your rules of engagement, then unfortunately, you're going to die by that same rule. I want us to come back to the table and do a ceasefire. I want us to come back to the table and say, look, how can we address our differences without bloodshed? And I understand there's so many bloodshed, there's so many murders and killings that have gone unanswered, unresolved. And I know there's a lot of pain. I know there's a lot of trauma there. But out of respect for your fellow man, out of respect for the Black community, we have to do a better job. And I know that's a hard ask. I know that's a tall ask, but I'm asking it. And I'm going to continue to ask it. I'm going to continue to ask that we find another way to resolve our differences other than a gun. I'm going to continue to promote opportunities for Shreveport. I'm going to continue to try to sell this city. But I need your help. We got to stop the violence. We got to stop recording it. We got to stop posting it. And let's focus on the things we're doing well. Let's focus on the positive. And I'm here. If I can help anybody better their life, I'm yours. Pick the phone, call me. If I can help you, if I will. If I can't, I'm going to try to point you in the right direction. All I ask is let's find another way to resolve our differences other than daily violence.
Yeah. And I'm gonna end it with this. There's been many wars in this world. They always end one way, with people talking. They have to talk to each other. Sometimes surrender is not always defeat. Because I don't know who said the quote, but it was a quote and it said, nobody wins in war. Everybody loses. Mm-hmm. And I asked one of the rappers that was sitting on my couch the last time he came on, I asked him the same thing. I say, I don't remember how I put it, but I know I was basically asking him, like, you feel like anybody won in it? And he was like, now we are, everybody lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the truth. We doing this weekly. We got Dr. Alan Jackson Jr., City Councilman for District
E,
and running for re-election. Yeah. We're gonna make sure we put him back in that seat because he's done a hell of a job. And it's your boy Pac Man, the Hood Voice Box, you know what I'm talking about? And we on Air It Out with Pac Man. I'm out.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.